Alright, hello, citizens of the Nigelverse. It is Nigel here once again, and this is going to be another wrestling review. Oh, um, I've talked about before here on the channel a while ago, almost a year ago, when we were doing our Survivor Series reviews, about a major debut that took place at Survivor Series of 1996. That being, of course, The Rock, the Brahma the People's Champion. But he was far from the only debut to happen at Survivor Series. What if I told you that 6 years earlier there was another debut? There was a massive monster, or history-making debut. A big name made their way into WWF and WWF Legend and WWF Canon, and we're gonna talk about that debut today. That being the Gobbledygooker. Oh, and the Undertaker, of course. But no, for real. We're gonna be talking about the Dream Team versus is the $1 Million Team from Survivor Series 1990, aka the debut of perhaps my favorite wrestler of all time, arguably the greatest wrestler of all time, that being the Undertaker. Um, as always, I'm not a professional wrestling reviewer or analyst, just a man who enjoys a good time, which with this match, I kind of had for the most part. In terms of them building up, which we're going to talk about, obviously, if you've seen these reviews before, you kind of already know how this works. If you haven't, I'm going to be talking about what I like and what I dislike about the match. And starting with what I liked, I know this almost shouldn't play into the match itself, but I feel like this is kind of a loophole because it's a loophole that I can kind of talk about this because this is essentially a debut. That being the presentation of the Undertaker. Like the Undertaker is presented in a major way. On commentary, which I can't make out exactly who it is on commentary. Like a lot of these older or like a lot of the older matches and stuff. I can't really tell. I think one of them is like Gorilla Monsoon, but the other one is hard to make out, so I'll have to look into it. Like later on in commentary, like Jim Ross or Jerry Lawler, or even like Vince McMahon around this time, or even like Bobby Heenan. I'm usually able to make out, but here, sadly, I can't really make out who this is, who these guys are on commentary. But they are putting over the Undertaker, like the size of him. Like they talk about, oh, look how big he is. Oh, look how big this guy is. Oh man, look at the size of him. And you know how Vince McMahon feels about his big sweaty men. But you know what? It worked out in the long run for the Undertaker. As he makes his way down, he's got the music. He's got the big coat, the hat with the tie and everything, and the shirt, and how they present him in the match with him being big and lumbering, but almost impervious to pain, and he even busts out a top rope move, a top rope clothesline, which ironically his brother Kane would use often, and Undertaker would still use from time to time in his career, but yeah, just putting over the size of him, and he does get a decent amount in this match, and the fact that he's essentially the mystery man, the last mystery partner for the $1 Million Team. Um, just building him up in a big way is pretty cool to see. How the Undertaker is built up. But there's also stuff in the rest of the match that is pretty decent as well. Also, the $1 Million Team in full is the aforementioned Undertaker, Ted DiBiase, if that wasn't a giveaway, obviously the $1 Million Man, and Rhythm and Blues, that being the Honky Tonk Man, and Greg the Hammer Valentine. Meanwhile, the Dream Team consists of Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, Koko Beware, who's the first to go after being nailed with the tombstone by the Undertaker, and then the Hart Foundation's Bret Hart and Jim the Anvil Neidhart. And honestly, that kind of is like a dream team. Especially with like Bret Hart, but yeah, that kind of is like a dream team. But yeah, so the $1 Million Team and the Dream Team clashing, and this is less about the Undertaker, or it's somewhat about the Undertaker, and more about pretty much everyone in the Dream Team having a problem with Ted DiBiase. Essentially, Ted DiBiase, obviously the $1 Million Man, arguably like one of like the best wrestling heels in history, not just WWE history, but wrestling history as well. And about him potentially, hopefully, maybe getting his comeuppance. And spoiler alert, he doesn't really. But yeah, so it then comes down to Ted DiBiase and Bret Hart, which I think is a smart move, as Bret Hart is. He's still in the tag team with Jim Neidhart at this point, but eventually it's not going to be long from now where he's going to be built up in a major way as like the next major face of the company. Yeah, but nevertheless, Ted DiBiase does kind of roll up Bret Hart for the win here in kind of like a small package like maneuver in order to pick up the win over Bret Hart. But the Undertaker, which are definitely gonna which we definitely are gonna discuss the Undertaker's involvement, because for the most part that's why we're here. But the Undertaker did well. He did what he was supposed to do. Rumor has it that the Undertaker actually was supposed to be in the gobbledygooker costume, but the person actually under it was Hector Guerrero, who is Eddie Guerrero and Chavo Guerrero Sr.'s brother, or so. So he was in the gobbledygooker suit, and the gobbledygooker as a character, made fun of, like, hated by wrestling fans. Although, let's be honest, considering it was around Thanksgiving season, because the Survivor Series takes place in November, and considering it was a giant egg, what did you expect, honestly? He might look goofy, but what did you think was going to happen? And what did you think is actually going to be something major, something actually serious? It's a giant egg, for God's sake! Howard the Duck could have came out of that egg, and it would have made just as much sense. But yeah, the Undertaker, I think, did his job pretty well, and pretty much essentially treated some of the other. He had. I guess I can phrase it this way. Coco Beware was kind of the cannon fodder. Dusty Rhodes and Jim Neidhart. Jim Neidhart was almost bordering on cannon fodder, but he did some stuff as well. He even was able to eliminate, I believe it was Honky Tonk Man or Greg Valentine, or it might have been both. I think Jim eliminated Greg Valentine, then it was Dusty who eliminated Honky Tonk Man. And or I might have the two mixed up. Let me know if I'm wrong about that. But speaking of eliminations, let's get into what I didn't really like about the match, and more specifically Undertaker's involvement. But starting with the match itself, is admittedly a little bit on the shorter side. It's about 13 minutes, which believe it or not, is actually kind of short for a wrestling match. But they were able to do what they needed to do in that time. But the Undertaker, as big of a force as he was presented as in just like this opening match, not opening match, but his debut match, as big of a force he had here, he had a really like boneheaded way of getting eliminated. So, the Undertaker beat up Dusty Rhodes, who did get eliminated by this point. Beat him up on the outside and was beating him up down the ramp and stuff. This happened because Dusty Rhodes is going to attack Brother Love, who was there alongside Jimmy Hart and Virgil. Oh yes, the $1 Million Team had 3 managers with them, but excuse me. So he was going to beat up Brother Love. Undertaker stepped in, but then turns out counted out because apparently he was gone from the ring for too long, beating up Dusty Rhodes. Even though the Undertaker, from what I can tell, wasn't the legal man. They tried to say he was the legal man, but I didn't see him tag in at all. I imagine, and that was kind of a fail-safe, them like having to, he had to eliminate the Undertaker, and he had to eliminate the Undertaker because he wasn't going to be involved in the finish. You wanted Ted DiBiase in the finish, obviously, but Undertaker, they had to get him out somehow, and I guess this was the best possible way. But it is kind of bonehead. Like, Undertaker sitting there almost looking like a goof, the way he got eliminated there, or like in a goofy way, which is mildly annoying. But you know what? Considering how his career turned out, I think he turned out just fine. And But for this match, honestly, I feel like, and I know you want Ted DiBiase to be involved because Ted DiBiase, $1 Million Man, always gets his way and he ekes out the win. But honestly, they should just let Undertaker go all the way and finish off the rest of the Dream Team. And you could probably still have Ted DiBiase as like a sole survivor, or but yeah. So, oh, and actually, I think, um, we're gonna have something with Ted DiBiase later on in the show. Looking at the wiki here, he would also be involved in the main event against Hogan, the Ultimate Warrior, and Tito Santana. But still, I would have had Undertaker like go all the way um, and clear house here. But like I said, Undertaker's career still turned out fine. Would be there for another 30 years. Having a having like a almost 20 year, an over 20 year, I should say, WrestleMania streak. He being like a major player in a lot of major angles in WWE, being one of the few who like gimmick slash day job gimmicks of the new generation era that didn't suck. Even like the next year at Survivor Series '91, he would battle Hogan and win the WWE Championship. If, winning the WWE Championship from Hogan literally the next year. Or here, Undertaker go on to have a very lengthy, awesome career. Love the Undertaker, always been one of my favorites. Was one of my grandma's favorites as well. She was one of his favorites before she passed away, unfortunately. But this is how it all began for the Undertaker. Now, he wasn't a total fish out of water. He had wrestled for WCW prior to this point, and I believe so he was in WCW and then to WWE. So, it's not like he was totally like first time wrestling, anything like that. He was me and Mark Callis in WCW, which fun fact, actually one of the people he faced while in WCW is me and Mark Callis was Sting. So we technically did get that Undertaker Sting match. It just wasn't, Undertaker versus Sting. It was me and Mark Callis versus Sting. But I think that's as close as we're gonna get. But nevertheless, that's going to do it for this review. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor. Like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends. Turn on post notifications so you know every time I upload a video so you can see as soon as it drops. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on the match and my review of the match. Did you like to select the match? Did you like to select my review of the match? Let me know. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you guys later. Peace.